Slow. Language and the Study of Languages Today, Oxford. Page 87, Chapter 5. The Sounds of a Language, Recording and Transcription. 1. Early Forms of Alphabets. For unnumbered millennia, it seems, human beings have been making use of the highly conventionalized method of communication known as oral speech, but they were slow in elaborating methods of recording the speech in written forms. Picture writing seems to have been the earliest method of making records. It would be possible, for instance, to record pictorially the fact that the king received tribute of corn and cows from his vassals by showing a monarch seated on his throne and a series of humble individuals offering the goods concerned. The amount of or number of goods could be indicated by a very primitive representation of counting. Let us remember that the Roman numeral for 5, namely V, is based on a picture symbol for an open hand with 5 fingers extended, while that for 10, X is a combination of 2 such open hands. Various number systems based on 5s, 10s, and 20s go back to the elementary fact that early man began to count with the aid of his fingers and toes. In picture writing, things and actions are most readily depicted and most easily interpreted. A figure such as I or old eye, tired eye, is readily understood to stand for the human eye. The addition of signs for drops of water below the eye can as readily convert this into a figure meaning to weep. Of course, such images give no clue to the words which were used in converting the signs into oral messages. For that very reason, picture writing, even when greatly stylized, can serve as an intertribal means of communication among speakers of quite different languages. If, for instance, a figure like standing for man with scepter, king, were prefixed or suffixed to the sign for to weep, then any recipient of the message would translate it aloud into a sentence equivalent to "the king weeps," regardless of the specific noun or verb used in his own spoken language. A pictorial sign used to represent a class of objects or a type of action rather than single concrete objects or events is called an ideogram. Thus, the figure weeping eye represents weeping in general, not necessarily weeping of a specific tribesman X. Herein lies the possibility for further generalization. We may clearly trace the process of generalization leading to the formation of an alphabet in the ancient Egyptian language. By an alphabet, we usually understand a series of signs which corresponds to individual sounds in a language or to syllables rather than to things or actions being referred to. The transition from picture signs to letters of an alphabet represent an enormous step forward in the history of human communication. How did it occur? variously in various cultures obviously, but perhaps the best example is, as has been said, the development of ancient Egyptian writing. Here as in Semitic languages, consonants alone were regarded as essential in transcribing a word. Now it happens that Egyptians had many monosyllabic words that were homonyms, at least as far as their consonantal structure was concerned. The ideogram picturing the word swallow stood for the word blur, but blur also meant big, therefore the word ideogram could be used for the adjective. In English, the noun swallow has a homonym in the verb to swallow. If today's languages were to be obliged to evolve from picture writing to alphabet, we can imagine the following combinations of signs recurring. The bird swallow plus tail, a swallow-tail suit worn by modern gentlemen on formal occasions to swallow a fish. Yada yada yada, so this is quite long. Phoenician Cretan inscriptions. That's it for tonight. Good night.